Yep, I'm a milk and tea kind of person. Judge me if you want. So I actually learned how to make this tea from my mom. She used to do just ginger and cinnamon. And she actually used to just slice up the ginger instead of grating it. But since mine was frozen, grating it was just so much easier. And I add a couple other things here and there. Like sometimes I'll add turmeric root, and if I add turmeric root, I'll add black peppercorns to help make the curcumin bioavailable. But today I really just wanted like a warm, nostalgic drink because it is very spooky and foggy outside. So I realized today is Thursday instead of Wednesday, which I would normally upload my garden tour. But today, as you can see, the weather is not great, and I was trying to get the garden mulch yesterday before it got rainy today, which is why I put off doing the tour. But due to some other circumstances, that didn't get done either. But let me show you what I have done. So there's my big pile of mulch. It is absolutely delightful to smell. It smells just like Christmas trees. I get my mulch for free from the city, and the city picks up all of the branches and cut trees and whatnot from neighborhoods and mulches them and gives them back, which is why it smells like Christmas trees right now in January. And I think that's delightful. So my garden's gonna smell like Christmas trees for at least a couple of weeks. One thing I did get done is taking out this mint plant that had died. You can see a pile of stuff over here that I still haven't cleaned up. And I think I got most of the roots out, but I will probably be picking a few leftover ones out as time goes on. If they do actually come back, I think a lot of it was pretty dead. Going down this first row, my fava beans are definitely dead. They didn't just die back at the tops, they died like for good. Oh, hello. This is one of the neighborhood cats. It's very friendly. So the garlic looks fine as it has. Oh, hello, you're just gonna get in everything, aren't you? Garlic has looked very healthy. I'm not worried about the garlic at all. And there's a bunch of weeds around here that also look very healthy. Part of the reason that mulching needs to happen, usually I lay down an extra layer of cardboard and then put wood mulch on top of that for the pathways, so that as part of my no-dig gardening, I'm not ripping up any more roots and dirt clumps than I have to, and it's also just easier, it's less work. Alright, and so all the way down this second row, I have onions down the middle and some brassicas still left. This celery hasn't quite fully died, but it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for the celery. We'll see. We'll let it keep going. This one looks promising. We'll see how that goes. And then the rest of these brassicas, like this one, will probably recover. Some of these have already died back so much that I can't find them anymore because they turned yellow. Mostly, oh my goodness, you're a needy little one, aren't you? Another reason I need to mulch these paths, aside from the weeds, is, I don't know if you can see, but this is just dirt showing. And you can see some of the old mulch that was here is kind of washed away. And basically, yeah, you can see it really bad right here. I had a lot of rain. A lot of the older mulch got washed away. You can see where I had done some fresh mulch back here. It looks fine. I just ran out and took a couple months to get more. And so I'm gonna put more mulch here just to kind of keep the soil safe. And this stuff that's newer, that's heavier, obviously doesn't wash away as easy, which is nice. I think most of my onions survived. They don't all look great. This is one of the ones that I planted that I had harvested last year and sprouted. And this is one of my new starts that was much smaller. You can see it's got a couple of dead leaves, but green in the center. So that's positive. As we take a look at the trellises, I already cleared off this side. This side still needs to be cleared because those peas are very dead. And then at the base here, where I had lettuces, I did not tear them out, but you can't even really find them. I think, oh yeah, this is a little bit of lettuce mush here that hadn't quite died. I don't really see any other lettuce looking anything. It was all very dead. And then on this second trellis underneath, you remember there were all these radishes that had sprouted that were not very good to eat, but I was just letting them live. This one is putting on some new greens, but the rest of these look pretty dead. On the outside of the trellis here, I have garlic planted, which I just added fresh compost to. This is some homemade compost. It's not quite fully broken down yet, and will definitely need some straw on top, but because the compost itself is not fully broken down, it does serve kind of as an intermediate mulch for this area as well. And then back behind the trellises is this area where I have tried to plant carrots over and over, and I thought that they might have gotten washed away in that big rain, but if I really look, I can usually find one or two carrot sprouts. Yeah, there we go, right there. That one is a carrot sprout. And I've still got a couple of the ones that were bigger when the rain came. My hopes are not high for this area, I'll be honest, as far as carrots. But maybe we'll get like 5 instead of 2. Some of these weeds in the middle that I still haven't dealt with are wild onions, which are technically edible. Oh yes, this is not for you. Yeah, these are technically edible, but they're not nearly as tasty as regular onions, and I have plenty of regular onions, but if you find wild onions, you can forage them. And the other place that I did manage to do some compost was about the first third of this row, maybe the first quarter of this row. It took a while because I had to move all the straw, gently do the compost around my onions, and then put the straw back. And that's all my fault that it was that much work, because I definitely could have done it before I planted the onions in, and I did not. So that's on me. As we go farther down this row, though, you can see some of the Brussels sprouts that were around here are still here. I see 1, 2, 3 out of the 6 are still alive. Not looking great, but alive. This one Brussels sprout that has been around for almost 2 years now is finally bit the dust. But this one looks great. Looks happy. It is making somewhat loose sprouts. You can see these leaves are just not all curled up into cute little cabbages the way you might expect. And I'm not entirely sure what caused it. There's a bunch of different things that can. My best guess is just that this plant got kind of warm over the summer, because it definitely has had plenty of nutrients and such. But these things being exposed to heat can definitely affect how their little Brussels sprouts turn out. And here in the South, there's not a lot I can do about that. They're still perfectly edible as loose sprouts. They're just not as pretty or what you would expect from a Brussels sprout. It is basically the middle of January right now, just a little before the middle of January. And I am about 1 month out from starting like a lot of the big stuff for the garden, the tomatoes, the peppers, the eggplants. And I'll be starting those indoors, but I've also started some things outdoors on my new garden bench. My dad actually made this for me. And you can check out his video on how he made that. I'll link that up above actually. And what I've done is I have planted some stuff to live out here under a little bit of cover as it sprouts. I don't see anything sprouting yet, but that's pretty normal given the cold. These are all cold loving plants. I've got kales, spinaches, and lettuces to replace what I lost in the freeze. These plants don't technically need cover out here. They should be absolutely fine with the just slightly below freezing temps at night right now. But I am keeping them covered to help keep them just a little bit warmer so that they germinate faster. And I am sprouting them outside instead of inside so that they will be more acclimated to the cold overall when I try to put them out in the garden. But so far this potting bench has been great. I specifically asked for the 2 different levels so that bigger pots can go here on this lower level and I can look down in them. And then for little things like this seed tray, it can be up at counter height for me. The stray cats around here are crazy to watch. So I've got this one in my garden bed. There's one all the way out here. And then there's one on the roof of my neighbor's house over there. There's probably about 5 under the trucks. Anyway, so if we take a look at the berry patch, I have not done any pruning yet. I don't think I will actually prune the raspberries because these canes should be able to produce for about 2 years. And then I think I will do some tip pruning on the blackberries in the spring when things get to be just a little bit warmer. Strawberries still going strong. They had a little bit of dieback, but that's very normal for strawberries in the winter. And guys, I keep saying this every week, but I'm so excited for our harvest of strawberries this year. Here's some more of those wild onions growing right here in my lawn. Can't get the bulbs up very easily. They're pretty stuck in there with all the grass. A lot of people hate the wild onions in their lawn because of the smell of the onions when they mow. But honestly, I would rather have wild onions than all of this grass that is just super invasive and gets into all of my garden beds. Alright guys, I'm gonna go inside and get out of this dreariness before it turns into actual rain, which it will later. But in the meantime, I'll get this video up and out to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I usually do a garden tour on every single Wednesday. So if you want to catch up on the ones from 2022, I'll put that playlist here. And 2023, I started a new playlist that is right here. Also, don't forget, a comment on this video is an entry in the seed giveaway. If you haven't heard about the seed giveaway, I will link that video also up here. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy gardening!